Hey, this is Rich. Use the he, him pronouns. You're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role playing games with friends. This is part of the Intercontinental group of awesome, so named because we straddle a giant ocean in a couple of different continents and we play awesome games. And the game that we are currently playing, we're in the second full session of Spire, a game by Grant Howitt and Rowan, Brooke, and Discord. I don't know. I can't remember. It's something. I apologize. I'll put it in the show notes to make up for my mistake, and I am not the GM. So there you go. That's my excuse. It's the only excuse I have. I am simply a player. So our GM is our loving GM is Tyler. Tyler, take it away.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and indeed I am running the Spire, which is Grant Howitt and Christopher Taylor. And it is a story of drow in their homeland that have been taken over and oppressed and occupied by high elves. There is a multicultural sort of feel to the Spire, as we have a lot of different species and types of peoples living there. But our focus is as the drow trying to work against and overthrow, or at least inconvenience the heck out of, the high elves. All of our people will be working with what is called the ministry, which is an underground attempting to cause these problems for the high elves. It operates in cells, and our group is one cell, and they bet their minister, the head contact they have with the ministry, for their cell in our last episode, and we're given yeah, I see that, Jan, that you have a strange glow, don't you?
Yeah, I guess it's just like, hey, it's daytime now.
Your night is all aglow. Um, but they were given their mission last time, which was to go to the College of Magic, and in particular the Infinite Library, because a researcher at the college had discovered an ancient progenitor, or information about an ancient progenitor religion predating not only the solar pantheon and the glorious lady, glorious mother, which is the gods of the high elves and the drow, but even Dormu, which is the progenitor god of that, something even more ancient, which we were given at least a little hint could cause upheaval and problems, especially depending on who gets control of disseminating that information and how they would do it. So our crew is asked to go and find this researcher, find their research, and return it back to the ministry, perhaps finding out along the way what the validity of it and just how dangerous it might could be. There was a complication, though. Our researcher, their office has literally disappeared. Where once it was sitting inside of the college, it wank is gone along with that researcher, and is believed to somewhere now be hiding in the Infinite Library, which is, as the name implies, a crazy, huge, and constantly shifting space. While not actually infinite, it's in that sort of realm of pretty darn close. Just as a reminder, our researcher is Saris Duvall, and that is the one we are searching for. And we did a little setup for that. We had our knight go and find out that there is actually a photographer who's trying to map the area by the name of Secrets Whispered Through Gossamer. So we know there's someone who's at least in there, and there is a little connection from the bartender that our knight spoke with. We know that there is the librarian who guards the doors to get into the Infinite Library, but our merchant, our Azerite, got a hold of some library cards, and so we have a means of entrance, as well as the ministry delivering some uniforms, some clothing that would make them blend in, and our mask working their abilities to make it just the perfect sort of look to fit right in. but still, we have yet to enter into the library. So, folks, we do have safety tools on the table, and I'm going to mention those real quick. We use lines of veils because having safety tools at your table means that everyone feels more comfortable playing. And our lines of veils at the moment, we have a line on sexual assault and cannibalism. A line means it's just not going to be in our game. It just ain't going to be there. And we also have a veil on harm to children, meaning that we realize it could be in the game, but it's never going to be a focus. It's going to be a fade to black. It's going to be something that we have off screen. We have some other options which may be added, but at the moment, that's what we're holding with. And we also have the X card on the table, which for folks who don't know, the X card is if something gets a little too intense, a little too personal, is just destroying your fun, is just making this game not fun for you. Then you can do either put up a symbol. I've got a book in my hand, so you can do like that. Or you could go, hey, Tyler, I think I want to X that. Or you can put something in the chat. I have a habit of looking at people's lovely faces and not the chat, so you might want to direct my attention to it. But if we have this problem, what I'll do is I may ask a question to clarify, but I will never ask an explanation. We will then pull back, reframe, and move forward. Again, it's to make sure we're having the most fun. Since this is our second session, wanted to go over our safety tools in full. We will probably just look into those off camera next time. But folks at home, it is worth putting safety tools in your games. It makes them better. So now, why don't we have folks go around and introduce themselves? And I'm going to go from our character keeper order, and starting on the left, Jan, introduce yourself and your character.
Hi, I'm Jan. I use he, him pronouns. I will be playing Zordin, the knight. Also use he, him pronouns. Knights in this game are not quite what you expect from other fantasy games. Knights are more working for bars, and basically they're just alcoholics doing police work. And he used to be a duelist during his durance. His durance was a bit longer than most durances are, because you're only you only have to do it for 4 years to be able to be a citizen of Spire, but Zordin did it for about 9 years. He kind of liked his job, but yeah, then he got kicked off. Now he's sad.
Aw. Well, thank you very much. Next up in our line is Alex. Introduce yourself to your character, please.
Hi, I'm Alex. I use he, him, and I am playing Gerald, who also uses he, him. He is the mask, all about subterfuge, social camouflage, more lying. And his durance was as a spy for a mix between spy and head servant to a high elf lord. And he still passes on gossip and tidbits in exchange for being able to still pass himself off in high elf society as, working for a high elf.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next up, Rich, your character, please.
But I am playing Aramis, like Aramis from the Three Musketeers, because that's where I stole it from. Aramis is Lajan, which is the priests of the moon. He is, he's dedicated to the ministry because he feels that he has been called to it. So not just the ministry as being a priest of the moon, but also the ministry as in the Drow terrorist activities to free the people. And he feels that both are his calling, and he is fully ready to do what needs to be done. But he does seem to have a set of morals that could be interesting in conflict. Aramis had helped Zordon overcome an addiction to painkillers after his injuries, but then Zordon just went to beer and alcohol, so not a full win as far as Aramitz is concerned. Yeah, that's Aramitz.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Next up, Jen, please introduce yourself and your character.
Hello, my name is Jen. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Funara, who also uses she, her pronouns. She's an Azurite, which means that she is a merchanty merchant. And Funara herself is quite specialized at commerce and compelling other people to do the things that she wants them to do. Last session, she wheeled and dealed a bit to get us the library cards that we will need to infiltrate the place in the library. And she has some little side hustles worked out for this whole operation, but right now, of course, the priority is the named portions of the mission.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, Sabine, introduce yourself and your character.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sabine. I use any pronouns and I'm playing Vizar, who uses he or they pronouns. Vizar is an inksmith, which means that he writes for some gazettes and papers and stuff like that. He does some sort of stuff with ciphers for the ministry, but mostly just for fun. He has, if he has more, he has yet to discover them, but mostly it's he wants to stick it to. They think they are better, and for what reason exactly? None. That's for what reason, right? So yeah, so he's a bit of a firebrand in that regard. He used to do his durance as a sage. And that would have not gone so well if it hadn't been for Gerald and Gerald's advice to maybe keep your mouth shut every once in a while. That's something Bizarre is still struggling with. He thinks he's very good at talking at people, but yeah, you know. Anyways, he has spent his durance in the library that we're going to infiltrate, so he feels pretty confident that we probably won't get eaten by the books. Or at least our brains won't, or maybe they will, but I'm pretty confident it won't make a lot of difference to some of us. So yeah, this will go well. He just hopes that he doesn't have to see that idiot that he had to serve, the venerable redolent dreams of Firefly Glyphs, who might not understand that he is not his servant anymore, which might be a good thing, considering that we're infiltrating the library, but still, you know, we'll see.
Awesome. Thank you very much. You had a little bit of lag in there. I think we got a hold of what you were saying, but we will keep an eye on if there's lag going forward. So I think it's nice that you mentioned your former employer, master, because I think I want to open with when you ended your durance, Vizar, and it would have been a day that you probably been looking forward to. And as you had come in, perhaps presuming that your master, always such a unpleasant way to refer to it, and no longer the case, Rendelet, you would say something, and as you came in, Vizier, good. I have a list on the table for you to retrieve for me. I need them forthwith.
This is the last day I'm in. Is this the last day? It's great. I'm taking this and saying, yes, master, it will be a joy to comply with that.
And I expect these back in the next couple of days. I will have considerably more work for you afterwards.
I will guard this list with my lifeblood.
Very good. and see to it that you are discreet. I don't like my business being bandied about by people.
You know me, I'm the soul of discretion. I will never talk to anybody. I don't even like talking to people. It gives me a headache.
That's good to hear. I have little reason to complain about your services. You have done quite well these last couple of months. You're well aware it has been years and years you've been working for this man.
Yeah, I'd say a month. It felt like it was only days. I was learning so much and being so delighted in your company, Master.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, of course you have. Be going.
Yeah, I'm going and I'm giving the list to somebody else because I'm out of here. Maybe somebody who doesn't like my old master very much.
As you hand off the list, the person that you're handing, see her. Good luck going forward.
Oh, thank you. I feel very confident about my ability to make it in the world. He needs this stuff on the list forthwith, so in a week or two.
Of course he does. It's been a pleasure working with you.
It has? Wow, okay. Yes, it's been a pleasure working with you as well.
And
tap him on the shoulder, whoever he is.
We see you leave the library. We see it kind of rising up behind you. And then we pull back down into our current day, which we had set ourselves up in the metaphor, a bar. Now, we were kind of having this as we're fixing to head in moment. But if we had some things we want to do that would have been set up, we could certainly do as a little bit of a flashback or a just talk it through. For one, Fenara, there had been the suggestion that you have a something that you're delivering, since you're going in as delivery peoples. Is there anything you have in mind for that?
Let's see. I mean, this is the infinite library, so clearly they have a relatively they have a diverse collection. No qualifiers. So I'm probably going to try and get my hands on a lot of ephemera, which would be items that are periodicals and are not kept in print over time. Just to specify for folks who don't do book dealing and that kind of stuff. So, newspapers, handbills, strange art experiments,
Oh, cool. Okay.
Little stuff like that.
Okay. And that, since you're bringing kind of a large set of things, and that means you can have like a box with an experiment and a box with some pamphlets. So everybody's got a little something to be hauling around. Nice. Very good.
Yeah, I definitely try to scale my acquisition to the amount of labor that we have available.
Nice. And Gerald, you were preparing everyone's outfits, putting the finishing touches on these perfect sort of setups. From a meta point of view, we're probably going to have someone go in as the talker with everyone in support. That's probably just the easiest way for us to have it work out. But in your dressing everyone appropriately, are you focusing on that one person? Do we discuss who it is? Are you trying to spread, because it would take 5 hours if you wanted to do everybody?
True, yeah. I think most people, they get dressed. I kind of just make sure either, the ones who are a bit too proud and straight backed, I'm like, okay, let's get a bit of slouch. Let's look down. Let's have less pride, less confidence. Gordon, try and be shorter. Uh, hmm.
Yeah, who do we think is going to end up being our talker?
Can Fenora pull off being subservient? Or do you think that's beyond her?
I think she can pull off being subservient.
Because I feel like Vizier might be a bit dangerous to be put out front as somebody who's known and also,
I can totally be subservient.
Yeah.
might not be able to hold their tongue.
I think Vizar might be a good lead because he's, been to the library before, but
I think the talker, though, needs to be somebody else.
I
Why
mean,
don't you go be the talker? You're always talking about, well, you're not always talking, but that might make you a good choice.
yes, time to see hidden talents.
Mm-hmm.
No, allow me to be the face of the operation, but Vizar, I want you at my right hand.
I will be your right hand and be delighted to be that.
Thank you.
And I make a little bow.
Excellent. I give Vizier a pat on the shoulder that's totally platonic and can't be interpreted any other way.
And I will give Fonara
Like
kind of
the shoulder.
make kind of puppy dog eyes at Fonara, like, oh, I'm so in love with you, but I don't dare to say anything.
Oh,
And I will be in safe reach of Gordon, just in case.
But what do you mean I can't bring my armor and sword?
It might give you away slightly. It'll be safe at the metaphor. I'm sure your friend will keep a good eye on it.
Now, perhaps I got Sorden a false bottomed box with a knife in it.
That's something, I guess.
Better than nothing. Come on, man. I'm looking out for you.
but your sword is quite large, isn't it?
Yes.
I couldn't think of anything reasonable to tuck it into.
It in fact has a tire. It's a great sword with a tiring tag. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry, ironically, we're not going with a cart, so I couldn't use it.
Oh, I know. Get it. It's fine. I'll make do with a butter knife.
To be clear, you now have a mastery in compelling and deceiving, Honora. Because of
Cool. Very nice. As they're conversing and there's the, checking the bolt's bottom, making sure there's a dagger in it. Aramis, you can hear, y'all are in a back room and it has a door out to the alley. And they're sort of involved in their discussions over there. And I'm thinking, you're there listening and part of it, but you hear a bit of a noise outside that door. A cackly, high-pitched laugh.
Do I happen to recognize this laughter?
No. But it sounds almost painful. A throat almost being torn by the laughter.
I've heard of times when people have had afflictions. As long as everyone seems taken care of here, I'll just crack open the door, peer out, see if I can understand someone in need of aid.
You look out the door, you see a drow. Their clothes are nice or were nice, but you could see they're dirty and ripped. It's not like they're old, more like they've been rolling around and moving through places that have ripped it torn, and there are cuts on them, and they're staring down at these bloody kind of cuts on their hands and just laughing. Tears coming down their eyes, and you could even see a faint trickle of blood from their corner of their mouth.
I cannot ignore that. Friends, I will return. Someone seems to be in need of aid. And then I step out.
They look up at you, and their eyes are wild, fiery.
What has happened, my brother? How can I help you?
I've taken too much. I've taken too much.
Too much what? Speak to
The trek. The trek. It makes me so happy.
Okay. Am I aware of a particular drug that has this kind of affliction on someone?
You have heard of this, most especially recently. It's been popping up not only in the higher Spire, but down in Pilgrim's Walk. Far more frequently. And you, with your knowledges, there's said to be a demonic residue to this drug.
I'll come up and immediately put an arm around the person and try to guide them somewhere to sit down. Seems you may have an affliction, my friend. I can help you, I believe.
Help me. Help me. I don't deserve help.
Everyone deserves help. I can help you. Come. Let's help you to relax. It sounds like you may have partaken of something that has turned out to disagree with you, correct?
Yes. Oh, it felt so good all the other times. And now it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah. So I would like to find a way to perhaps fix this poor drow. Do I know of any way to heal or help them, or at least calm them?
We could do something along the lines of your right of respite. Now, you may not want to spend your once per session on that. Or you could try to do something on a more skill level with fix this person.
I'd like to start off with the skill level of fix. Is this
Okay.
person from the low society, or would that domain apply at all? Or can I perhaps try to bring in my religion?
I think you could bring in your religion on this.
I like that. Good. Okay.
Because again, you're aware that there is something with the demonic to this drug.
Okay.
Then
I'll say, my friend, I am Aramitz Malajan, and I can help you, but you will need to help me in that. I know that the laughter is afflicting you, but if you can repeat after me, and then I will lead him in a prayer to the Mother Moon.
All right. You're going to have 0 on the difficulty on this, but you are looking at, I think, a D2 of potential stress to blood.
Oof. Okay. So just to walk through, I get a D10 for doing a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have the skill of fix, so a second D10. And we've agreed that I'm doing it within the domain of religion, therefore a third D10. Is that right?
That is correct. And you're looking for whichever one gets the highest.
Oh, and what is this Strauss name? I would ask his
you
name.
ask him, and he will tell you it is lizard. Lesert, lizard.
Cool. Here we go. A 10 is the best, right? We just go with the best. So
Yep. Is that a 10 or an 8?
am I looking at it wrong? Oh, that's Zordan's roll. I'm sorry. I was looking at something from like a week ago. A 6, 8, and a 4. So 8's the best one. I apologize.
8. All right. So with an 8. Oh shoot, I'm a bad person. Let me make sure. I believe that's a success with no stress.
Oh, I have copied that core mechanic into the AT column, which is just to the right of all our skills and everything. And 8 to 9 is a success with no stress.
Excellent. So as you begin talking with him, bringing him into this prayer, he begins calming and repeating after you. At first, those cracks of the cackle, the laughter, break up the prayer. But with your guidance, begins to calm. And much like after a bad trip, he is shaking. And it takes a bit of time, 15, 20 minutes of really guiding him through these prayers before he kind of almost collapses into himself, shaking it. Thank you.
And I still have my arm around him, and I gently smooth his cheek. It is my pleasure to help bring you some calm. I would recommend you reconsider the use of this drug in the future, but always the choice is yours.
Thank you, Father. It used to bring such joy.
Well, if you are interested in meeting other drow who wish to seek joy, you're always welcome to come to my congregation. There are many friends among us, and there are other ways to find happiness.
Where would that be, Father?
And I'll tell him about the little, I can't remember what section of the
Pilgrim's
map
Walk, I believe.
Yes. Okay, there we go. I will give him direction to that and tell him when our next gathering would be. And then that's it. Like, I don't push hard.
I will try to come, Father. Thank you.
If you can come, you are welcome. If you cannot, that is all right as well. If you need help in the future, you can return to me.
I won't forget your kindness. And he kind of struggles up and begins walking out of this alley. Looks like he might be, walking a little aimlessly, but again, kind of got the shakes with it. But he seems out of the throes of it.
If it seems like he wants to walk on his own, then I will allow that and just watch until he's gone.
Okay. You step back in as Sardan, this dagger, I mean, hardly a weapon for a knight. I mean,
Yes, it'll have to do.
all right.
It's not like I understand, but like, if I'm not dressed as a knight, I'm not supposed to be wearing a weapon.
I can't really glue 10 books together lengthwise to hide that sword.
We could try.
Um,
I mean, we can glue 10 books together though and claim it's an encyclopedia. That's possible. I've seen encyclopedias that hit things you probably don't want to know about.
Then you also have to lift all 10 encyclopedias in one go, and
Well,
honestly,
I won't have to. It's your sort in these encyclopedias, then you'll have to. And you are a strong man, Sordin. I mean,
Well,
look at those muscles.
Aramitz is back.
Very sorry. Has everything been sorted? Is there anything we need yet to discuss?
No, I think that everything is as settled as it needs to be.
Fedora,
Nora, do we need to share out the passes, or do you believe?
Let us all have a hold of at least one pass. We don't know if we're going to get separated at any point.
Yeah, that could happen. Sometimes one of these Elfir, one of these fuckers roam the halls, and then they just grab the nearest person who seems likely to be able to grant a request. So
Right.
It's not a
Really?
good idea.
And of course, our chances of being separated increase the deeper we get into the library. So I allocate the passes. Do not lose this.
Fedora, is Golaset with you here? I mean, it seems like we don't have a pass for it to go with you, but he would certainly expect to accompany you up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Gulliset's here.
Are you sure that I should not go with you?
Well, Sordin will be around. I can more or less look after myself in a library of all things.
Ma'am. He kind of cuts his eyes over to Sordin and, are you sure you wouldn't prefer someone a bit more viable?
what? Huh? You want to go? You want to go?
I am sure that a contest between you and Goliset in reliability would be quite amusing.
If you insist, madam, I will remain ever watchful here.
If there were a sixth pass on offer, you would have it.
Very well.
It's always good to have a man on the outside anyway.
Are there any instructions you have for me while I remain?
Keep watch. If there's any suspicious activity around my business, take note.
You would have me travel all the way back there and not wait here for you, madam?
That is a good question. All right, then, stay here. Let's see, I should signal you. I should signal you for a calm exit and for a frantic exit.
Library has alarm bells, so that might call for a frantic exit.
Oh, certainly.
Yes, ma'am. I will be steadfast in preparing for your rescue.
And I, pat him on the shoulder. Thank you, Golo.
It sounds like we're all set to make our incursion. And so, well dressed for it, you leave the metaphor and move across the square. To your left, you could see the enormous, once was a telescope, but now has been turned the other way around to capture the moonlight and distill it into its liquid concentrated form. The liquid moonlight used for many purposes, quite a few. The high elves have decided to use it for our, Aramids. They're flat out blasphemous, is what they are. But there's little that can be done now, and even the cathedral has resorted only to token protestations. But you could see it there as you move towards the college, entering into that space that you're so familiar with, Vizier. And there's the hustle and bustle of students running hither and to, looking frantic, most of them worried about their various tests. You see a few of the teachers, the magisters, walking about, looking suitably aloof and superior. And every once in a while, you'll catch a few students canoodling there on the square or having a bit more fun, playing hacky sack or whatever equivalent there is in our society, until you reach the Infinite Library itself. Going through the front doors of it, the open to the public, the more anyone can kind of come in area is filled with books and shelves and multiple levels. There are winding stairways all across, and then there's those ladders on wheels to go around. And you see people, pardon, allergies are killing me, so I am a bit sniffly. You see, people reading and getting down books. Vizier, you recognize the staff that's here. Included some of these are the glass shines, which are people who their main duty is working on the lunar font, the big telescope thing. But they're then used as kind of general labor all over the place. And some of them, this is their durance. Some of them are paid. They are pretty exclusively drow. It is not a high prestige job. But as you travel closer, it is not difficult, Vizier, for you to, point out to everyone the main desk where the librarian is, and behind it, you can see the hallway and the enormous doors beyond. I mean, it's a big, arched, big hallway, and those massive doors behind it. But that desk right out front, you see someone you've seen many times before, the ancient crone-like figure of the librarian.
Yay. I think Wazar will get a bit chatty because he's nervous. And that's what he does. When he's nervous, he starts talking. So he'll be at Fonara's side and then point out that what you just said, basically. And don't call the librarian a crone. She doesn't like that.
Understood. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Getting up to the desk, the librarian will look up. Can I help you? Seeming like she has no desire to help you whatsoever.
Good day. I am here with an assortment of periodicals and other ephemera that may be of interest to the library.
I've never seen any of you before. There is a little look as the gaze passes over Bazaar. Any of you before delivering goods to the library?
I'm new.
Do you have your credentials?
Of course.
Right here.
She will take yours, Fedora, and look it over. Look at the others of you as you kind of hold them up, and her piercing gaze looking at them.
I'd never look her directly in the eye.
Some of Carl's people, is it?
Indeed.
What do you have? And
Well,
she'll move around to look at your stuff.
and I'll gesture for others to, bring things up to the table, but I caution them to not set anything down on the desk until we have permission of some kind, whether it's simply a nod of assent or a put it over there.
All right, I think we're going to hit into the roll here to see how this goes. This sounds like deceive. This would be academia domain. Or commerce. I think your commerce might work in this. You are getting mastery because of what Gerald has done. And I think you're looking, this is a pretty stressful roll here. So I think you're looking at a D4 of stress potential to shadow.
Got it.
Because this could blow your cover a bit.
All right. Well, I'm rolling 4 d10s. Let's see what happens.
And if before we get to the roll, if anybody wishes to add, this is where we could do that working together bit. I have a feeling it probably feels like maybe only one person is able to kind of fast talk in with this rather than a whole group of y'all, unless you have some beans you think you could do that.
I mean, I would have helped with academia, maybe, but I've seen that Fanara already rolled phenomenally well, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
Okay. All right. So did we get a 10?
We
did. Look at that. Oh, that's fantastic. Sheep. Well, Carl usually sends better than this, but the scholars are interested in anything from high to low. Very well. You may go through. She writes something on a pad. This is your pass. Find one of the shines and make your delivery as quickly as possible. I'll expect to see you out within the hour. Do not wander. If you wander and get lost, well, I don't have time to find you.
Understood, milady.
And
Yes,
yes,
crystal clear.
and she will move to the side as you begin hauling your boxes back towards the door. And as you reach them on their own, there is a deep clunk, clunk sort of noise, and they open and hit back up against the wall to either side to let you pass. And almost immediately after the last of you in line passes, boom. And from inside, you can see multiple gears and bars as they and close back up. And why don't we take a bio here? Take us a break. We are okay. We're back. Alex reminded me of something, and it's a piece of our system we haven't done yet. But Rich, you absolutely had a refresh moment when you helped that person.
That's true. I thought that when we started the scene, and then it slipped my mind.
It had kind of been in the back of my head. It was an opportunity, and then it just, rattled around in my empty brain until it popped right back out. But you definitely get a refresh moment there. And I think that this is a D6. You really, the role play in it and you putting yourself out to do it, I think it's going to be a D6 refresh on your reputation.
That sounds wonderful because I have taken 2 stress in that. So let's see how much I heal. 5! Does that mean I heal all of it?
You heal all 2.
Nice.
Cool. So back
Thank
up to
you
full.
very much, Alex.
Indeed. Thank you, Alex, for reminding me there. All right. So we have entered into the antechamber, the entranceway of the Infinite Library. And what you see as you come in is, first off, on the floor in this massive circular room is kind of a map, sort of. one would presume that at one point or another, this was meant to help guide people through the library. Bizarre, you probably ignored it since any attempts to really follow it don't work. But
Yeah,
it is
I've used it to confuse people from at certain times. Like you see here, then you go there, and then you go up and leftwards. Not leftish, but leftwards. That's different.
and it is covering the whole of that floor, so it's enormous, and it has lots of little symbols and writing on it. But you can see something that is new since you've been here, Bizarre. Someone has been going through and with lead pencils and chalk making annotations to various places and routes. And you can see where they've labeled off, continue through this direction for 174 paces, and to the right you will find the room of contemplation. But seems like someone has been attempting to map the map. Other than that, though, inside of here, you do see a few people wandering about, either carrying some books. Some of them look like they're staff, and this is a center place where, coming here is pretty stable. No more than about a dozen or so folks. And then radiating out from this room are passages upon passages. And there are some stairways circulated up on corners and sides. And this room extends up a good 5 stories where you can see more books and more passages above. What are y'all doing?
We're supposed to find this room or this lady, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. So I think I have done a bit of research, right? Remember when
Mhm.
I think I have a vague idea of the direction we need to take now.
All right.
So, okay, I have a vague idea. I mean, room's been gone. Maybe it's back now. They do that from time to time, but we need to figure out where it was before we can figure out where it is or where it will be.
Well, you know that where it was in the college, not in the library.
Oh,
you
okay.
believe, right, that it has been taken
Oh,
from the college
yeah,
to the
okay.
library.
Oh, okay. So we need to figure out, and this is about religion, right? And older religion theories about
Correct.
ergot. So yeah, I think I might have an idea where we might go looking for information pertaining that subject, and then we might find a room with a door that would usually be found in a college. That they look different, mostly. I mean, there are some of these, but the college doors have a symbol that looks like a sun thing.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'll describe what that looks like. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Perverted. A son? Bastards.
Yeah. Well, don't say that too loudly here. You never know who's listening. Okay.
All right.
So, choosing the direction you think is best,
This way.
you begin heading down between the rows and rows of books. Y'all travel for quite a bit of time, half an hour probably, seeing to the side people studying in little nooks. There are rooms which contain strange machineries, rooms that contain many different types of like almost lab equipment. And sometimes you'll see people working with it, sometimes you won't. Of course, always and ever around you are the books. But after you've traveled this far, you've seen fewer people. The further you get through, the less likely you are to encounter folks. And so maybe it's a little surprising when you hear up ahead some voices raised in anger. And as you get a little closer, you can hear a general, "We're not willing to go in there and continue this work, sir. This is blasphemy. What they're doing is simple blasphemy." You hear an older voice. "Look, you are all charged with taking care of the font. If you will not go and do your jobs, you will be punished."
Oh, I know that voice. I think.
You will say that you probably heard them before. It's not your master.
He sounded like that. So.
It is the archivist, the person who is in charge of all of the shines, the glass shines who take care of the work here. Aramitz, as you hear them talking, you hear one of them raising their voice. "Moonshine is sacred. It should not be used in the rites the High Elves are using it for. It is blasphemy, and our glorious mother will not stand for it."
I think I'm gonna look to Fanara and Vizar pleadingly, like, you have to deal with this. This is a thing. This is a thing we should deal with.
No, we can't deal with the systemic inequities that happen here. We have a job to do, Aramitz, you know that. You can't go and yell at the archivist here.
We are lowly servants, Aramitz, remember.
Perhaps we could learn more about what they wish to do with this, right?
When the powerful flaunt their strength, the weak must turn to subterfuge. Let's observe.
Are you calling us weak?
Yes.
Compared to the Elfir in here, Zordin.
There's strength and then there's strength. And I would never doubt your strength.
Good.
Okay.
Aramitz, what say you? We try to find what we came here to find. And if afterwards we find a way to, throw some salt into their gears here for blaspheming, yeah, let's do that. But first things first, okay?
I think Fanara mentioned at least trying to ascertain what this threat is. That seems wise. Yes?
Fine.
So,
and maybe it'll lead us to where we're actually meaning to go anyway, so.
as you move up towards where this kerfuffle is going on, you hear that older man's voice. I am warning you. I am going now to get the pursers, and they will not be pleased with this. If you don't get back to work, well, then you will be sorry. And you see a very flustered man come from around a corner and in kind of a huff as he...
Can I move into his path?
Is he a dark elf or an elf here? Sorry to interrupt you, Alex, but I think that is important.
He is a high elf.
Yeah, and as I do it, I would be standing up straighter, adjusting my uniform to look as neat as I can after kind of having it a little bit disheveled looking, and like doing a quick just tightening of the,
All right.
And so, may I be of assistance?
Maybe, yes.
I heard the commotion and I was worried that you were having an issue. I would, if I'm able in any way to step in and correct the behavior of these your servants, I will forthwith try
He
to.
seems relieved that you are clearly someone who agrees with it's just insanity. These glass shards standing up to proper authority. They say they will not work if we continue taking the moonshine up to Tinner.
Will not. That. I do not know the meaning of that. I will. Within moments, your problem will be solved. Need not think of it any further.
Well, that is very decent of you. I am going to retrieve the pursers. If you have solved this,
Do not feel that is necessary. I mean, I would not question your judgments in this. But I'm sure they have much more busy things, and as do you.
why
much
don't
more
we have
important.
you try and do a little convincing on this?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I have mastery when conversing with high elves. I think.
excellent. I think that you're doing compel.
Yep.
Which
Which I have a skill in.
excellent.
I don't have academia.
You do not, but you are dealing with a high elf, so you have your mastery.
Yeah. So how many would that be?
Let's see. With your mastery, you're gaining an extra die,
Yeah.
and with your compel and with your base, you got 3.
Okay.
And I think we're looking here at a. This is probably going to be going against your shadow because this is getting you involved while your mission is kind of at stake.
Yeah.
And this guy could cause you some trouble with this. So I'll say a D3.
Okay. I've rolled and I got an 8.
Y'all are rolling so good. I can't do awful things to you. He says,
I apologize.
well, what is your name?
Much quicker than myself, I come up with a name that isn't my name. Do you have any names? Anyone got a name offhand that I whip out instantly?
I mean, the first one that comes to mind is Drizzt, so
So just call yourself Dizar or something like that. That seems high.
Dizar.
That seems drow elf.
There we go. Yeah.
Well, Drow, or whatever your name is. If you think you can handle this, fine. I cannot have them continuing to not work. If this is not settled within the hour, I will be returning with the pursers. But if they're back to work, then, well, it'll be a feather in your cap. I'll remember you.
Very fine. You'll hear no more of this.
He straightens his scholar robe and stalks off with as much dignity as he can manage. Meanwhile, you could hear all of you could hear the rumble of the people around the corner, kind of raising in a bit of anger.
Horrible idiot.
Aramis, have you been heading over towards that?
Trusting that my compatriots are handling this elf here, I am absolutely heading over to see if I can understand what's going on.
All right. As you come around the corner, you can see that this is sort of like it's a much larger open room. And you could see where there are pallets and tables with food on them. They're kind of this is probably like a break room / resting room for these workers. And there are a good dozen drow in kind of uniforms, a little similar to y'all's. They, they're workers here. And they are they're kind of agitated here. And as you come around, you hear one of them say, if the pursers come, they're going to bust their heads open. And it doesn't matter. I'm just not willing to do this anymore. Our glorious lady, she cries every time we do this blasphemy.
Greetings, friends.
Yeah.
I've overheard your distress. Tell me, what have the Elfir asked you to do?
They've, there's a little grumble and wondering who you are, but the one who talked about the blasphemy kind of moves over. It's just unconscionable. It was bad enough, all the other things they've been using the moonlight for, but they're using Our Lady's grace in a ritual to bring the dead back to life.
That is very disturbing. Have you witnessed them successfully bringing back the dead?
No, but that's what the scholar said when he came. He said it was very important that someone, one of the Elfir of high renown, was passed before his time. They do chemicals and use the moonlight. They intend to inject it into the corpse, raise it up to life again, to the grace of Our Lady into their veins.
That is... I could understand why you would want to stand up against such a blasphemy. However, I might propose that you do not throw away your bodies or potentially your lives for this. I am Aramitz. Perhaps you've heard of me. If not, I am a Legion of Our Lady here on a sojourn of study.
Oh, really, Father?
Yes. I propose that with this information and any more information you can provide to me about which Elfir, although I'm sure a high Elfir recently dead, I may be able to ferret it out myself. Our Lady is very flexible, and we must think of the long game. I recommend that you continue, but in doing so, I give you my word that I will do everything in my power and the power of my church to prevent this blasphemy from successfully occurring. In that way, you may continue with your durance and become part of a larger movement.
There's a bit of a rubble between the people there. Some of them are, that makes sense. I'm devout, but I don't want my head split. And a few others are, the church has hardly ever helped all that much. Blah, blah, blah. But I think this sounds like you're trying to convince them of this.
I am so trying to convince them, yes.
And the guy that's talking to you will say, we don't know his full name, but something about sun shining in the breeze or some sort of nonsense. But let's have you roll. Now, I think everyone else will have this point have been able to get over there, see this going on.
Not really hiding it.
So if anybody wishes to assist, they certainly could. You're trying to compel. This is definitely religion.
Yep.
I would, let's make sure. Well, we might say you're trying to fix this rather than compel.
No, I think compel is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to overuse fix.
All right. Let's see. Any of your little thingies?
I don't think either of my advances makes sense. My right of respite doesn't apply. Moonlight doesn't. I mean, it's basically a flashlight. So I think I'm just rolling 2 dice, unless.
That seems right to me.
Yeah.
And this will be going on your reputation. I think we're looking at probably a D2. Because I think the stakes are rather low on how much it'll hurt your reputation, but I think also a fail would mean that they're not going to also be convinced. I think there's practical as well as reputation costs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anybody got something they feel like helping in with this?
Seems from the chat that nobody cares about this side mission, so perhaps not.
I mean, Fanara cares, but also,
I mean, Gerald would be willing to stay out while the others searched in case he needs to, step in on any other high elves.
I will mention that, if you want people who know much about the library, you are in the midst of the people who know it the best.
That's true. We can visit to do that. We can get there.
And we were told to go find some Lancers. Now that I think of it. So all right.
Oh, that means that I'm the only one who's going to continue. That's cool.
No, Sword is still there.
Okay. Okay.
And Funaro will be like, keep going.
Yeah.
We'll work this for what it's worth.
Yeah. We reconnect at this place. These guys should know how to find it again.
All right.
If I don't see you here in half an hour,
then assume the worst.
all right.
Okay.
We'll be able to get out.
So we've got a split with Bizarre and Sorden. And Gerald, are you going as well with them?
I think I'm going with them. Yeah.
Okay. So the three of you begin continuing down the hallway as Fenara and Aramitz try and calm this group. And I'll tell you, I think that they're willing to bite because you put a good point across to them. So that's giving you your in. Fenara, if you're willing to help, then you can add a die as well. But it does open you up to stress as well, should it happen. All right.
I lend my aid.
Okie dokie. Just as a question, do we want to have people who lend their aid roll their own die or just have it added into the matron roll?
Added in, so much simpler.
Okay. So, Rich, you're rolling 3 die.
All right. Thank you for the help. Here we go with compelling. And my best is an 8, which is success with no strain.
Y'all are just so good. All
Sorry.
right. The guy who has been talking to you, you see as you put this argument across to him, he's, Father, the church has not been very strong in fighting against this. Do you swear that this will be addressed?
I understand your concern. I have the same concern from parts of the church. I cannot guarantee you that the entirety of the church will be at your back, but I give you my word that I shall.
Behind him, you hear, see, the Father's going to look out for we. Let's get back to work before we all get beaten or worse. I mean, those pursers, they're no joke. And the guy, very well, Father, I'll trust in you. We'll trust in you and in the Mother.
And I have given you my name. Feel free, if you need in the future, to call upon me.
All
And I
right.
give them the location of my church because that's the thing I do, evidently.
And he'll, all right. Those of you on shift, get back to work. And he sort of, doesn't look happy, but as some of them start filing out, he looks at the two of you and says, can I offer you a cup of Karak or perhaps tea?
I could go for a cup of Carrick.
Tea, it would be lovely. Perhaps some information.
Sure. And he moves off to one of these stoves, and there's several pots on them. He pulls one pot up and pours a thick, dark liquid into a metal cup and hands it to you, Finara, and then a much lighter but still fairly dark tea into a cup for you, Amaritz, and motions to some chairs that are there around the stove. My name is Tremere. I am, I guess you'd say I'm kind of a spokesman for the Shines. At least they're the ones who make me talk, and my voice ends up being loudest. Information. What brings you, Father, into this place?
I'll kind of glance over at Finara. She's much better at this kind of stuff. I've kind of dominated the space anyway, so.
Well, I personally, if you could be discreet.
Certainly. I'm not giving up anything to those bastards.
I am on the lookout for music.
Music.
Paraffin discs and those sorts of things.
Well, there's certainly large collections of those sort of things around. Anything in particular on them?
Yeah, my collection is so small, meager, that really taking a rubbing of just about anything would increase mine in size. Of course, I would never take non-circulating material out of the library. That simply causes problems for honest people like yourself.
Well, they've caused problems for you. Most things are tagged. Somebody'd show up to try and find them if you take anything out of here. I mean, their spells are impressive, but well, I suppose he kind of looks around and you see there's a guy who wasn't taking part in this conversation, kind of off in a corner. He's eating some sort of mushroom dish off of a metal plate and drinking some of the tea. He says, Creed. The guy kind of looks up. Creed here's new, but he's so far really a quick learner. He could probably take you around to look for stuff, and being new, he's not got any set duties yet. Great. The guy kind of gets up and comes over. Great, these nice people are looking for something here in the library. Would you mind showing them around? Creed kind of, yeah, sure. I don't know, yeah, that's fine. Mumbly. Well, thanks, Creed.
And of course, we're also looking for a place to deliver these periodicals to be sorted into collections.
You could leave them here. We'll go ahead and put them up. That's, I guess, our job. But yeah, we can. He kind of looks over all the boxes, and
I rescue a clipboard from one of the boxes.
Okay. I'm guessing, Sorden, you would have almost immediately retrieved your weapon from the box when you got in. right?
Oh yeah, probably put it somewhere a bit more strategic.
Okay. And he says, "Yeah, we'll get all this put away. Creed, go get your stuff." As Creed moves off, he leans in and he says, "He doesn't talk much, but good guy.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm not sure where he came from, but he's been a real help. Almost like he knows the library intrinsically. First person I've ever trained who didn't get lost the first day."
Oh, interesting. How long do you say he's been working here?
Well, let's see. He showed up about a week ago, week and a half. It is worth noting that would also be roughly the time that Cirrus's office disappeared.
Interesting. All right, then I'm just going to tuck that to my back pocket. And enjoy my Calic. And so I have not seen anything like moonshine being in a bottle on every shelf. No.
But these would be the people who would know about that.
Mm-hmm. And I allow myself to sort of trail off and look into the middle of distance and go, goodness. It truly is a crime the way moonshine gets used by these Elfir.
It's disgusting. It should be, first, I'm not entirely even sure that it should exist at all, but
To collect it alone, certainly.
But if anyone should have its blessings, it should be us. Well, and he kind of looks over at Amaritz or the church.
And certainly they're keeping it in some kind of wastral, blasphemous vessels.
Well, he kind of stands up and moves over to a chest and really, they keep it in this. And he shows you a vial, a crystal vial. And I'm going to ask, Amaritz, have you ever seen liquid moonlight before?
I have. I believe that I have seen it in the possession of. Oh, I'm trying to find that terrible priest from last session.
Dances?
Dance in the silver. Yes, dances in the silver light.
You see.
Yes.
You see this. I mean, it's a very small vial and just the tiniest little bit of liquid inside. And yet it glows with a silver light that just looking at it fills you with a sense of the lady's presence.
That is wondrous.
Yes, I wonder if it's a gift she gives or if it is taken from her. Father, and he hands it over in your direction. It probably deserves to be with you more than anyone else. It's certainly not much. They keep tabs as much as possible, but as they say, to the butcher goes the best cuts.
I don't have words as I reach a unsteady hand out. Thank you. This is truly a blessing.
Don't forget your promise to me, Father.
Of course not.
Do I recognize the make of that crystal vial?
That's a good question. Let's have you roll for that. That's a good thing to see. Boopity boopity boo. That'd be an investigate, but it would be commerce. And I think we're only really looking. I mean, this is extremely low stakes if you fail.
Yeah.
So I think that we might see one stress come from your silver in the idea that, this, if you fail here, it kind of, hell, I don't even, I think this is stressless. This is a stressless roll. It's a question of how to succeed or fail.
Okay, cool. Then, boop, what we got? A 6 and a 3.
All right. So with our 6, we've got a success at a cost, would take stress, but since it's a mid result, yes, you don't know who makes them, but yes, this is made at the very top of Spire. This is made by high elf craftspeople. Would not be sold on the market, is purpose built. And the materials themselves are almost certainly some sort of arcane what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like alloy. It's a combined thing to make it rather than one,
It's a particular sort of doped glass.
Correct.
All right, then I file that away in my back pocket.
And as the two of you are finishing your drinks and you see Creed coming over, he's got like a pack that would be stuff for him to work. I'm going to shift over to our other 3. As you begin heading down the hallway, yes.
Before we go on, I would like to engage one of my whatever these things are called advances, because I know common fears and I can tap into the zeitgeist of the community, becoming the embodiment of the worst fears. Just to have that in my back pocket if I need it, because I think I should roll this before trying to embody it, because that needs a little preparation.
Okay.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Then I need to roll.
Investigate an occult.
Investigate an occult, and I get one for free, right? One die for free, and one for investigate, and one for occult. Nice. Okay.
Correct.
Cool. No, these are the wrong dice. These are the right dice. And what's the advance called? It's common fears.
Common fears, yes.
Yeah, I'm just looking into, and it's interesting to figure that out. I mean, might have changed from last time I've been. I mean, I learned how to do that probably here. Let's roll. Oh, it's just a 6. See, not everybody's rolling totally well.
All right, and I think we're looking at a mind resistance here.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to roll a D2 on mind.
Okay. Should I roll that? Do you roll that?
I'll roll it real quick.
Oh, cool.
So you're going to take 2. I guess I should have let you roll, but
it's fine.
You take 2 stress in mind.
I have a resistance of 2 in mind against stress.
So you add your stress to beside the mind.
Okay. And nothing comes of it. Okay.
Correct. Your total is still 0 because you're even. You will take fallout as you get over your resistance.
Okay.
And keep in mind things that you will want to do to refresh or to get rid of that stress.
Oh, yeah.
And so you got it, but it came with that cost. As walking through here, opening yourself up to the place is how you do it. And I think that the stress is reflected in that you begin to fear. You feel that fear yourself.
Mhm.
That the words on these pages, the things that are written here, can take on a life of their own. They can reach out. They can speak to parts of you and devour that, or take control of your emotion, inflame your emotions.
Oh yeah, I know how that goes.
But-
That's very valuable information.
And probably the greatest fear of all is when these words come together and embody.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then they will cut with their words, or they will smash with their phrases, and they will roam these halls seeking, hungry.
Nice. Oh yeah. And for those of you who look on, I mean, you can't see Vizar's eyes usually, but for this, he's taking off his glasses, and you can see something weird is going on with his eyes, because there are words running through them. Just the illusion, of course, of words, but they are. And then he breathes, and then he puts back on the glasses and says, "Oh well, I think I've got something."
What do you get?
Hmm?
What?
Oh, just preparation. If somebody crosses our path, I might be able to intimidate them a little.
How? You are not
Why?
very intimidating.
By reminding them what the words in this library are and what they can do, my friend. They can eat your mind, Sordin. And I'm not joking here. This is not hyperbole. They can eat your mind. You cannot drink enough beer to protect yourself from that.
Gerald holds back a
There's not enough beer in the world. So now let's go and find our story, huh?
What were you saying, Alex?
Gerald holds back a barb about, the danger that Zordin may or may not be in concerning mind eating.
As you continue down the hallway, heading with Vizar sort of leading.
I have a core ability that says knows for trouble. If I can't find what's out of place, you can find the story.
Ooh.
So what's weird or out of place here? And I mean, everything's weird and out of place here, right? But, something that's even weirder and out of place, or...
Let's see. Out of place. All right. I think we're going to have that come out as you're continuing down towards where you had told the others to meet you. You see coming from a hallway to the side a figure, a drow woman. I'm sorry, a human woman that is dressed in armor, has a sword by their side, and when they come around the corner, looks down to the three of you and kind of straightens up and rather purposefully begins walking towards you. This is definitely out of place. There are rarely people like this, armed and such like. And the only way you know that this can happen is if one of the high scholars has given permission.
Is she wearing some sort of, I don't know, symbol or something that would indicate the high elfie or guy who she's working for, or girl or person?
Yes.
Because I imagine that they like to put their symbols on everything that belongs to them.
Yes. You see a symbol that you recognize because your master would deal with them, and your master was somewhat frightened of them. Softly burns the ice. And
Burns the ice.
And this is one of the top chairs of the college, an Elfir academic who is one of the top chairs, and now that you think about it, is chair of the theology department.
Oh, nice. I will whisper that to my compatriots.
Is this like why are they armored and weapons? This is a duelist, or is this?
I don't know, but it's because one of the high chairs here wants it. Us. So we'll see what she wants. We can talk to her, I think.
She seems to be coming up to talk with
Oh,
you.
she's going to us.
Yeah, well,
Um,
let Jared do the talking.
I think Sorin sort of takes a step forward at least, like get in front of everyone. Like
I'm pulling on your sleeve and let Jared do the talking. He's pretty good at that.
so there's a little bit of you being dragged as Soren steps forward, and this woman kind of gives an appraising look to you, Soren, and you recognize that kind of look. This is a soldier. This is someone who knows how to fight. And you in this workman's outfit.
I'm probably giving the same look.
Right, but looking like someone who can handle themselves. She's taking stock of that.
Miss, where are we supposed to be again?
What'd you say?
Vizier. I looked to a vizier, like, Miss, we were supposed to be going to, where was it? And I looked at vizier to kind of.
We were going to the vault of forgotten hymns.
Yeah, that's the one.
Good for you. I'm not really interested in where you're going. I just need some information.
Yeah.
How
may we help you?
She again gives you that kind of look, Zordon.
I'm
looking for a drow woman. Her name is Saris Duvall. You happen to seen her around here?
No.
Small lady. Kind of messy.
Anywhere she was seen last?
Well, she was supposed to be somewhere in here. From what I was told, my employer is interested in setting up a meeting. So I'm wandering through this big mess, hoping to find her. And maybe I figure that if anybody knows where to find someone, it'd be service people like you.
Oh, it would just deliver us. We were supposed to.
I mean, I saw a woman that headed towards the hymn halls, but you should be careful. Those hymns get into your mind, and I don't know if that happens with you. But they get into your mind and make you sing them. So probably better not go there.
Oh, man.
Name sounds familiar, but can't say that I've seen them.
She's studying some religious texts that my employer's interested in. If you happen to run across her, don't tell her I'm looking for her, but why don't you leave me a little note where you saw her up there at the librarian's desk. I'll make sure that you paid for it. You know, you help me out. Get a little something for you. Yeah. I know.
We can be well sneaky.
I know you folks like to drink.
There's that. I gave Zordon a friendly elbow.
Uh-huh.
Good. She kind of leans a little looking at you, Zordon. You don't really look like you work in a library. I mean, truth be told, I think you can lift heavy things, but
That's why I work here, to lift books.
she looks down at your hands.
There's like a squint, like.
She looks down at your hands, which are you wearing gloves? Just off the top, do you think you're wearing gloves?
I mean, it depends on what came with the costume that we were.
It wouldn't have had gloves.
No.
No.
Then no.
She looks at your gloves or your hands, and you can see she notes the scars that are on your hands.
There's also scars on my face, so.
Yeah. She says, well, I guess it's rough work being a librarian.
Paper cuts.
Paper
books
cuts.
falling out of shelves. It's ugly work.
Yeah. All right then. Like I say, you find her, leave me a note.
Will do.
She starts heading down the hallway.
I imagine that we part ways, but facing each other, both backing away and
kind of sizing up as she heads down the hallway, kind of the way you came, but then takes a side passage.
Okay, I really do not want to stay here any longer than is necessary.
We're in the right place.
Hmm?
I mean, we are, right? So we just need to find her now.
Yeah.
And I guess, we couldn't have asked her. She doesn't know, obviously, but we need to find that little small drow woman. So let's toss a coin. Let's leave it to the gods, because this is a religious library, right? So we'll just trust in luck and the Lady of the Moon, which Aramids will have hopefully pacified and made some good water for us. So let's toss a coin and then either go to the Hall of the Old Gods or go deeper.
Sure, whatever you say.
Yeah.
Out of local knowledge.
It's hardly as dangerous as they claim.
So you're
worry.
tossing a coin, or are you tossing a coin after you get to the meeting spot to wait for the others?
The meeting spot was back where we left them, so I'm not going back.
Okay. I thought y'all were coming to a place. Okay, all right. So you were supposed to be coming back to them. Okay.
Yeah. That was my understanding.
Okay.
Because they shouldn't run around the library without the guide.
All right. So with that in mind, I seem to have lost the roller.
I'll link it to you again.
I got it.
Okay.
So you want to toss a coin?
I want to go to I toss a coin and then we go to the place that's the most dangerous and the most interesting.
Okay.
Because these two, they don't know what the toy-cos means. I'll say, okay, we have to go there.
All right. You toss a coin and it rolls up that you need to head deeper into the library.
Yeah.
And as the three of you begin heading down the hallways, you come to one of these side passages, and y'all have gone now for probably half an hour.
Oh, we're supposed to be back now. Well.
Okay. It's one of these things of, probably at the edge of when you are thinking to turn back. When you look inside a room you've come to, and you can see that there are ribbons, thousands, tens of thousands of ribbons hanging from the ceiling, the walls, stretched across lines throughout this room. they seem to be shifting and moving. And looking at them, you realize they're bookmarks.
Mhm.
And staring at them, there's almost a hypnotic sort of pattern to them. Is it fair to say, Bizarre, that you're in the lead, or is someone else?
Yeah. I would be in the lead. I've tossed the coin, and I've claimed that I know the way.
As you kind of step in, almost drawn by the pattern these ribbons are making, you can hear their rustle. And there's almost words in the rustle. What
Hold
do you
my hand.
seek? Where do you
I-
go?
I seek the seeker, the one who is looking for deeper wisdom.
In this place, there are many who seek deeper wisdom.
The wisdom of the oldest of the gods, the ones who came, that one that came before.
There's a
Are
shift.
we all hearing this, or?
I don't think I think you two kind of are seeing something strange as Bizarre has gone in. You can hear the rustling of these ribbons, but here on the threshold as Bizarre has moved in, he's talking to the room.
I don't think I've noticed that, and I'm like, nodding, like, you couldn't have just not been a knight for 5 minutes.
What?
Didn't you just you listened to nothing I said, did you?
What do you mean?
You had to be, and I kind of gestured to his height. Like, just less, just for a moment, just be a little less than that.
You mean with the human?
Yes, with the human.
And then there's like a point to his face, and like, and that's all. He just like points at his face and goes like,
as the
Excellent argument.
As the two of you are having this discussion, Bizarre, you've kind of stepped a little further in the voices as you ask this question. The one who looks for the secret that was taken from her. The one who has found the mother of Dorgu.
Yes.
I need you to roll resist plus academia.
Okay. How do I roll resist?
That's a skill, I believe.
It's a skill I don't have, but I have academia, so I roll 2
Good.
dice. I roll 2 dice. Let's see how that goes. Probably not very well. Let's see. Oh, it's 2 6s, so no. Yay. I mean, I take stress, but I succeed. So
Success, but with danger. With it.
stress.
All right.
That's fair.
Well, in this case, you're not taking stress.
Oh no. Cool.
Yes. And I want to check, what is your refresh? Do something reckless.
My
for the
refresh is
sake of
do
a good
something.
story.
Yeah, I like what I'm doing
I
here.
think you can roll D3 refresh if you would like.
Sure. I'm rolling a d6, and basically then
Correct.
the higher are the higher it is, I divide it by 3. So yeah, it's a 1. Great.
So you
Oh.
will remove 1 stress
Yay.
from your mind, which is nice, as
Yeah.
this cacophony of the ribbons rubbing against each other, like some breeze is now going through this room. What she has lost has become a man walking, a secret, a secret in a body, a room in a secret. She is lost, but he is found.
Can you go?
You use words. Now words want to use you.
Okay.
And as the voices say this, the two of you behind him see these colors swirl as something moves through them. A collection of these ribbons forming almost a man shape, a person shape, but very tall. And it's whispering fear, death, harm.
And I hold up my hand. I say, no, I'm the one who uses words, not the other way around. Words are in me, words are of me, and I have other words than those that you have. Now, we can fight, and you will lose because I have used words all my life and you have only started. Or we can come to an agreement. I will teach you more words.
As you say this, those two behind you, you could see Vizar standing up to this thing. And I think, Sorden, your warrior's instinct.
I've got a knife out.
This thing shows no fear. In fact, you reading on it, it doesn't have the ability to even do that. As it says, cuts! And one of these ribbons shrieks out. We're going to shift C.
Oh yeah, of course we are.
The two of you, back with Creed and your new friend, have finished your drinks, and 15, 20 minutes has passed.
Weren't they supposed to have returned by now? I asked Fanara without using her name.
That was the plan as spoken.
He was so dedicated about continuing on the journey. I wonder what would have waylaid them.
Well, who knows?
You want Creed to maybe help you find your friends?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes. Thank you.
Creed kind of shrugs and if you follow me, I'm going this and starts leading you out.
I pat him on the shoulder and get moving.
As you touch him, he kind of, starts just a little and looks to where your hand is, and there's this look of like not quite realizing what's happening, and then you see a little smile. It's strange. It's almost like someone learning to smile.
Peace, friend.
Peace. And he kind of moves off this way. And you start heading down the hallway. Alex, you say we have you for not a great deal longer, do we?
Wrong button. Yeah, I think I'm just going to listen in for as long as I can, and then I will just drop out.
Okay.
Be an NPC when.
Cool. Creed takes you in the direction the others had gone, and when you come to kind of a branching after about 10 minutes, he looks around and this way, and begins heading off in that direction. Behind you, you hear the clomp of kind of heavy boots. You have the chance here probably to duck out of sight, or you could see who it is. What would y'all like to do?
What does
Trying to
Creed
duck
do?
Yeah, Creed is an interesting question, but I think Fanara's instinct is to stand there with her clipboard and be like, "Can I help you?" Because trying to duck out of the way is much more suspicious.
Creed seems to be mostly ignoring them and, just kind of going along, not hiding, not just kind of moving. But if you stop, he'll stop, kind of turn around. What are you thinking, Emirates?
I think Aramis will hang back and follow Fanara and Creed, and just kind of be chill, not try to hide, because that does draw suspicion.
All right. The footsteps get louder, and coming out of the side passage, you see a human woman in armor and with a sword. Hey there.
Milady.
I'm no lady. You
I'm
work
not-
here?
No, I'm simply doing deliveries. I'm looking for more of my fellow delivery staff.
3 people?
Yes,
Big guy?
one of them.
I saw him a few minutes back up the way. Maybe you can help me. I'm looking for somebody. Drow woman named Sarah Duvall. My employer has interest in her research. Happen to run across her?
No, I have no associations with the woman.
You notice that Creed, at the sound of her name, kind of stiffens.
Well, isn't that exactly what I was expecting?
And this woman catches that and looks over. How about you there? You heard of Duvall?
Oh, Creed here has he has a form of Tourette's. It's an unfortunate nervous condition that creates small spasms that look like mislaid social cues.
This sounds like you're trying to deceive.
Indeed.
All right. I think this is deceive. Probably would be order or low society. Maybe even crime. I don't think commerce or high society are going to hit. But this might hit your... No, I guess you don't have a deceive knack. Okay. And of course, Emirates, if you wish to...
Aramis would like to help. Yes.
Okay.
I think Aramis will say, a malady that has befallen only the drow, which is why you most likely have never heard of it.
Okay. So that adds you to 3 dice, Jen.
All right. Hamina.
And we're looking at stress here on probably shadow, because this is affecting your sneaking through this mission.
Oh, it's a failure.
Ooh, how bad? 5? Fail with stress. Why don't you roll me a D3?
take 3.
And Aramitz, you got to take the 3, or are you rolling for yourself?
It's hard to do worse.
Yeah, it's hard to do worse. I think I'll do a D6. Thank you. I'll eat my own harm, and I'll try to stick to that for going forward, so that it doesn't seem
Arbitrary.
I got to roll a 2, so I take a little bit of harm.
Okay.
What, 1?
Take
As they said,
1. Correct.
Okay. Of shadow?
Of shadow.
Ew, scary.
Yeah. Y'all are both sitting in kind of a not great place. We'll have to talk about some fallout for perhaps Fenara, as this woman, you could see her calculating in her eyes that she ain't buying this. Says, oh, okay. Well, tell me, buddy, have you heard of Duval? And you see her hands kind of crept down towards that hilt. The Creed goes, the name. I've heard the name. The name's on the door. Yeah. The door. The door. I could see the door. And he, for once, I mean, kind of is speaking plainly. Well, where is it? Tell me, where's the door? And he says, within me. I have the door. Now, what do the two of you want to do? As you see her, this kind of revelation, she looks like she's probably going to grab hold of Creed and take him somewhere or do something with him.
So, what do you think my expectations or thoughts about this woman's employment would be, sight and explanation unseen?
You were told by the ministry that there are others seeking out the same thing you are, and they would be using it in ways that would hurt the ministry's plans.
Mm-hmm.
You can guess from what you've gone through that someone dressed like this inside of here would have to have powerful friends, and that screams Elfir.
Cool. I run and I grab Creed's arm and I say, "Get us lost."
Aramitz, you see Fedora doing that. What are you doing?
I run. That's a good idea.
All right, the three of you, and Creed, yes, begins running as this woman takes enough of a second to say, stop, I don't want to have to hurt you, and pulls her sword. This is going to be it's going to be the other side of Pursue, I think. Yeah, I think Pursue is probably our best one here. You're just working off the other side. So Pursue and Academia is probably the area you would be in, but maybe, yeah, I don't think I see anything either one of y'all have that would be otherwise or anything. So who wants to take the lead on this?
1, 2, 3, not it.
Okay. Yeah,
I got it. It's fine.
And I'm going to give you 1 die because Creed is helping you and will be caught up in the problems if you fail. And Fenara, I think if you wish to, you can also aid in this. I think, it could be a group effort from all three of you.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely resistance against blood. And because we're dealing with, and by the way, she hasn't given you her name, but her name is Blaze. And Blaze has a bit of a difficulty. So, sorry, I'm having to shuffle through real quick. Yep, a difficulty of 1, meaning we're going to withdraw one of the dice that's in the pool as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm
And-
definitely throwing in my hand and helping, and probably, frankly, doing some all-out shit like pulling down bookcases in front of Blaze.
Okay,
That
we're
kind of
looking
shit.
at a D6 stress in blood.
Nasty. Now, do you feel that having the skill of pursuit would also help me to avoid it?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
Okay.
That's what you're rolling, I think.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then low society feel like an appropriate domain of running away from the cops? Or no?
you know,
Not
I
sure
think
that's a
I'll.
problem.
Yeah, I think I can deal with that. Yeah.
Okay, so then it looks like a total of 4d10 that I'm rolling. I got a 9 and a bunch of other
Ooh.
crap, but 9.
The 9's what's important here.
Yes.
As the 3 of you turn, you can hear the whistling of the blade behind you as she takes a swing. And y'all head off in flight. Behind you, you can hear clump, clump, clump as she's chasing. Venara, you're pulling down books, and you can kind of hear her stumble a bit as she steps on one of these. Fuck! As she slides a bit. And Creed, with you kind of, right there with him, takes a step to the side where you would swear there wasn't an opening. But in fact, the bookshelves are just slightly off line with each other, so that there's a space that you would not don't normally see behind as you slide in behind them. Kind of almost an illusion of it being straight, but in fact there's pretty narrow space
Right.
that he steps into, opening into another hallway and begins running. Behind you, you can hear, "Where did you go? Where? Come back here or I will kill you." Doesn't sound like a really good invitation, however.
Gotta find me first, bitch.
And the 3 of you jet down this hallway. Creed, after going a little distance, kind of slows as the 2 of you listen. You can hear the distance, that yelling, but it seems to have dropped away.
Being able to run that fast in Arbor is just obscene. Don't tell Sorton I said that. Though I don't think he'd disagree.
He would likely be stimulated by such a prospect. Not offended.
She knew the woman on the door.
Don't you?
I have never met her, but she is somewhere around.
Is it common for women to be on doors and around, but also lost and unmet?
Her name was written on the door.
Could we see it?
He sort of does that shrink back. It's a secret.
Well, I'm very good at keeping secrets.
So am I.
That's something I can respect. Creel.
He kind of looks up. Your friends are in trouble.
Oh dear. How do you know, Creed?
I can hear the words talking.
Oh, that wasn't just some made up story. Oh dear.
They're in the mandala. One of them has talked to it. Is talking to it.
No bets on who it is.
We shouldn't go. It will be very dangerous.
We must go.
We must.
Just as you helped us, we must help our friends.
Friends, help each other.
Yes.
I will remember that. Come. We will find them. And
Thank
he moves towards one of the bookcases. And he reaches up and pulls one of the books. And it recesses. And you see that there is kind of a priest hole, fairly small, where this is opened up. And you could feel a breeze coming through it. We should be careful. There are things inside of the chutes.
Understood. I'll exercise caution.
And he steps forward, and that breeze kind of comes up, and you get a whoosh, and he just shoots through, leaving the two of you there.
Bracing.
Well, that was unexpected.
Anything for the ministry, I guess, and I'll follow after.
You step in and feel the pull, whoosh, and begin jetting through this tube.
Just
and
another
Aritz,
piece of pneumatic mail.
Aritz, do you step in and follow?
Of course, I must.
And we're going to take a break there. Yes. Alrighty. We're back. And I think what we're going to be seeing is Sordin and Bazaar and since he's gone, Gerald. There at the room, and we'll have Gerald kind of acting in background since Alex has had to depart for a bit early. And Vizar, this creature that you are now kind of coming to the realization is a word elemental, a creature built of word and phrases. It is not exactly mindless, just a sentience well beyond what is normal mortal kin.
But it is not possible to compel it in any way.
That is almost certainly true.
Okay, so all we can do is probably just fight it, I guess, because there's nothing we can. I can't deceive it. Try to steal something from it, but I don't see how useful that would be. So I guess I mean my playbook says that I know magic. I would like to use that in order to compel again, which I can't use, but I will just make the claim that that is what I will use to fight it. Because I will try to I can try to confuse it, right? Because it said these words, fear and hate.
Mm-hmm.
So it said these words in some sort of language that we have in common, right?
Mm-hmm. It certainly did.
I will throw the words back at it in other languages.
Okay. Why don't
just
we?
just to confuse it.
You're
and
trying to
see.
confuse it, set
Yes.
up an opportunity for someone
Yeah.
else to deal with that sort of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we
Mhm.
have you roll deceive
Okay. And
plus?
occult.
I think occult is probably your
Yeah.
best bet. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And now with this creature, you are dealing with a difficulty of 2 at the
Oh, wow.
moment.
Okay.
I
Means
will
I just
say
roll 1 die, right?
correct. You were rolling 1
Oh,
die.
you know what? I rolled d6s the whole time.
Oh,
I didn't, Alex. I rolled d6s. I rolled really well with my d6s actually, because I rolled a 6 all the time.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm
man.
supposed to roll d10s. I
I should
forgot.
have caught that.
forgot
I'm
that.
sorry, I missed it.
No, that's not that. I should have caught that. It was my roll.
Oh, Fanara, you rolled a d6 earlier too.
but she was rolling that for the damage.
Oh,
That's
okay,
damage,
good.
yeah.
Woo! Okay, I thought, all right, just, yeah, not that bad.
Yeah.
That's all
Okay.
Yeah, you did roll well for having
Yeah,
D6s.
yeah, right. Didn't I?
So yeah, let's do a
Yeah.
D10 this time.
Just 1, right?
I
Okay.
believe so.
Okay, let's see. That's another 5. I mean, I can't do anything in this game.
All right,
It's a failure and I take stress.
you do. It slashes out with that word cut, and you
Mhm.
feel it slice across your chest, and the word itself slicing into you. And I need for you to roll a d6.
Oh, ha ha. Okay. Yes, 2. So that's not
You
too
will
bad.
take 2 blood,
Mhm.
and this, by the way, is scarring damage. So you will have a nasty scar
Okay.
as
Cool.
written across your chest, and bloody stripe says cut.
Cool.
Um,
Scars are make you interesting. So
absolutely
down with that.
true.
Then Zordon is very interesting.
And Zordon, what do? You see this thing
yeah.
slice into poor Vizar.
I think as soon as that happens, Zordon just steps forward, knocks Vizar out of the way, and just goes like, ah! And starts cutting into this thing.
All right. I'm going to say that to give Alex's character's presence something, we can choose at one point, and I'm not saying do it now, at one point that they're helping. So if you wish to add that die now, keeping in mind helping puts them at risk as well. But we can, and the other 2, you 2 are also, you're going to be arriving to take action right after this as well.
I think the initial one not just yet, but
all right.
I would help. So I mean I'm there, right? And
Sure.
I can just get in the way and use my academic knowledge and where the important words are in a sentence, right?
Okay, and
Give
you're
you a
opening
time.
yourself up to the stress as well?
Of course I am. I mean, it's a word elemental and I'm an inksmith. Hello.
Exactly. All right then. So, Sordon, you are fighting, it would seem.
yes.
I don't think you have a domain that's going to quite fit here.
Yeah, no, I was also going like, well, I can see academia or occults are working, but neither of those are are things I have, so.
And looking at, I don't see any of your advances that might take a thing on this.
No, I don't think this is quite a duel.
No, I don't think it's quite a duel. So, looks like you're getting...
Rolling 2 dice.
Let's see, 1
3,
plus
because...
fight plus the help, but minus 2 because of the difficulty.
Oh, minus 2. Oof. Well then. Oh, that's a 1.
Ooh. Oh, mercy.
I thought it was minus 1.
Roll me a d6.
Right. A 4.
And I
You
need
will-
to roll another d6 as well, right?
Correct.
Nice.
And Zordon, you're taking 8 blood.
Oh, 8. I thought, oh, Jesus.
A
Okay.
1 is double stress.
Well, I have 2 blood, so I only have 6.
Hmm.
I've rolled only a 1, but it's still double stress, right?
No, in the helping, I'm not going to make you
Oh.
take double.
Okay.
But you do take 1 more blood stress. And as you move in to strike at it, it bellows, crush, and you feel yourself smash down to the ground. There is a crunching, I think, as you land hard there, and you can see. Let's see your arms. Let's go with your arms because you were swinging. You could see almost a spider web of scars, almost as though your arms had been crushed up across your forearms. And this will be the moment that behind you into the hallway, you hear kind of the sound of scratching as a bookcase splits, and then you hear thump, and kind of jumps out. You see a man, rather nondescript gentleman, with a pack on, who steps out and says, "Friends help friends." And he steps to the side as thump. Venara, you shoot out into this hallway, seeing this swirl of ribbons and ink and your 2 friends bloodied and sort of hurt. And then behind you, thump, Amaritz. I keep saying your name. I am such a Aramitz. You see the same.
Oh,
I am never ignoring Goliset's insistence that he come with me ever again.
What do you do, Fenara, as you're the first of the 2 of you out of the tunnel?
All right, so can I use hidden stashes to say that I've smuggled in a weapon of some kind?
You absolutely could.
All right, what do you think? What do you think it would be?
You could have. I think anything in the medium size range, you could have found a way to bring. Sordon's big old greatsword is a lot to ask, but you could have probably, brought in a regular sword. And I will say that kind of in this, I think that because this thing is pretty large, we can imagine that we can work with all of you able to help and add with each other. It's the first time we're getting into a major combat.
Right.
And I think looking at it, it's wise to limit how often you put yourself into danger to push towards big things rather than trying to nickel and dime a big monster.
Already getting our asses kicked.
Right. And worth noting, this is the biggest monster in the adventure.
Whew. Well, yeah, and is this another, bookshelf lined room?
This room, and it's good size, filled with ribbons, bookmarks, now that you look at it. And they're swirling and sliding against each other. So you have this kind of ribbony screech sound as they're moving and swirling behind this thing. And there's almost a hypnotic pattern of them. And maybe you could even catch like a chuckling malevolent underneath the sound of those ribbons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, part of me wants to say that I've got a gun in here, but
That's possible too.
yep. And what's the state of gun technology in this world? Is it like
For
paper wads with lead on the end?
the
Or-
most, what people can usually get a hold of would be a like one shot type ball and powder. There are repeating guns, which are like a 6-shooter, but they are pretty darn illegal and expensive and hard to find.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have one of those. But for sure, I think that I have something where it's like paper wads of doped gunpowder and lead to pack in, and the very convenient little tamper clip on the outside of the barrel, kind of a deal. And I'll just go, oh shit. And honestly, Sorden looks real bad. How engaged is he right now with the creature? Is it veering its attention now that he's been pwned, or is it focusing on him to gloat?
I'd say I'm right up in it, but
You seem right up in it.
Yeah, it's towering above him. And again, it's got that sort of weird amorphous, roughly humanoid shape. It's noticed that y'all folded out of the wall though, so it might be turning its attention towards other problems.
Yeah. Mainly, I'm just thinking I should probably cook up some kind of deception to get its attention off of Sorden until we regroup and come up with a real plan for how to attack it. But my noodle is working.
Okay. Want to take a moment and see what, say, Amaritz does?
Sure. So this thing.
And you definitely see your friends are hurt.
Right. Yeah, I definitely am going to be taking action. I was just looking at my advances for a moment there. Oh man, I gotta start telling people what to do. Yeah, I've got that burn bridges thing, which is pretty dope. I think what I do is I would like to have Limier's light shining upon me. My forehead gem will glow brightly as the full moon, casting a calm light into the darkness. And I will draw Lord Nansan, the Order of Blood Knife, and start moving forward. Creature.
Do you wish to attack? Do you wish?
I wish to draw its focus.
Draw its focus. Okay, excellent. Then I think we can have that as a compel.
Okay.
Again, we're not forcing it to do something, or
I
you're
agree.
just basically just putting its focus onto you.
Yes.
All right. So would be compel plus occult or religion is probably what you're looking at here.
All right. Looks like I'm rolling a D10 for trying and a D10 for religion.
All right.
I don't have compel.
-2, right?
Minus two.
-2. Thank you for the reminder.
So if you're rolling with 0, it will be one step lower.
-2 dice. I see. Right?
Yep.
-2 is -2 dice.
Yep. So you still roll 1 die, but it'll be 1 step lower.
1 step lower.
Unless someone's there to help.
I guess
I
got
will
it.
definitely pitch in.
Okay. So that puts you up to a die without having to drop a level.
Okay.
Can
Thank
more
you.
than one person help?
Absolutely.
I will help with academia again, because still tugging on these things where it really needs them to make where it really needs the letters for whatever it's shouting.
Okay, so Vizar, you're yelling back advice to.
Yeah.
All right, Vizar.
I mean, I just grab the things that hang from the ceiling, the ribbons, the right ones, because I mean it's writing. I know writing.
So
I
you're
know
up
what
to
to
2
tug on.
dice, Rich.
Wow. Okay. That sounds wonderful. I will roll those 2 dice. Here we go. And that is a 10 and an 8. Thank you for your help, friends.
Ooh, fantastic.
Wow.
So your dagger does how much damage?
D3.
Roll up your damage.
If you just wanted, it was a compel.
Yeah,
He
that's
wanted to
right. I
take his
wasn't trying to hurt
focus.
it.
Was-
I was actually trying
okay.
to draw its
Okay,
focus.
gotcha.
And-
Oh,
yeah,
that's
thank
right.
you. Thank you. Yes.
Then what I think instead we will have is, since that's an exceptional success, I'm going to give 2 dice floating, as this thing's attention is wholly centered on you.
Awesome. And also terrifying.
As you can feel the weight of its look to you, and you could hear words swirling inside of it. Burn, destroy, cut, devour. As we get back Finara, you've just helped, so I think we could still get an action out of you if you'd like. You pulled that pistol.
Yeah, before I pull any shit with the pistol, can I trigger Heart's Desire on this critter?
Let's see. That may be more than it's capable of understanding. Let me look and see what it does. Yeah, I think that it's probably too foreign of mind. And I mean, yeah, you know what it wants, but it's hard to work on its motivations.
Fair. Alrighty. Yeah, in that case, I take a moment. I've tamped down the shot, and I'm packing for a lot of muzzle flare, if that makes any sense. Like I twist the paper a little bit and say a prayer to the moon, and then yeah, I fire.
You're firing at it. All right. We have our 2 free floating dice if we want to use
any
those.
and all you want to use.
We have Gerald still sitting there as a dice that can be added in. I think Vizar, you've done a bunch of helps so far. So, but I think Sorden, you probably have some opportunity to give a help here, just to keep us where we're not doing so much stuff all at once in each little round. So Sorden is helping. 2 free floating dice. Finara, it would be fight plus either occult or religion, or if you have something else you might lobby for.
Nope, I'm sitting here thinking, fuck, I should have brought in a whole bunch of glue. Just glue bombs all day.
All right. Do we wish to use Gerald?
You know,
Go
Alex
all
would want
in.
you. This is
Go
cool.
all in.
You do it. Do it. Do it.
And I will give a little bit of a hint here. If we can do any stress to it, it then becomes easier to do more stress to it.
It's a good hint, sir. Yeah, no, let's bring in Gerald.
All right.
Let Alex know his character did a thing.
So, base die, fight die. Do you have a domain that's going to work here? No. Gerald, Sordid, and gonna pull in both the free floaters or one of the free floaters, both
Let's
of them.
do it.
So that's 6.
If they're free dice, is that free dice you can apply the damage? Just asking.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
So minus the 2, you got 4 dice.
All right. Well, I got a 7, so that's not nothing.
That's a success, but you're gonna take stress.
That sucks for me.
So your pistol, pistol generally does a D6.
Uh-huh.
So go ahead and roll the damage, and you're gonna be taking a D6 back at you.
All right, so I deal 1. Bum, bum, bum.
All you had to make it easier, at least.
And I take 4.
Oh, chimamba. So that is blood. You do 1 stress to this creature, which seems shocked to be hurt, and you see it swirl back and around in pain, surprise, hurt, and it is very centered in it. It has taken that focus. You use the focus dice that it had on Rich before, and it said is kind of looking about, but because of it, the difficulty is now down to 0. If you do any stress, it loses its its confidence to have the 2 difficulty.
I think Sword needs to go in for the kill here. Although
Yeah.
Nazar doing something would be kind of cool too.
Sorin would have been able to go in for a kill if he had a great sword. But
Yeah.
with this
I mean, I can
Yeah,
still try to
you want-
distract it.
Yeah.
I can fling my dagger your way.
I mean, I
and
can.
I mean, I have
Yeah, okay, so let's
Okay.
go. Bizarre, if you're wanting to try and do some sort of setup to put
Yeah.
Sword in a better
Yeah.
position with everything
Definitely.
there.
Because I mean, there are letters on it, right? And I mean, I have a pen. I always have a pen because
Mhm.
I'm a writer. So let's start scribbling and confusing it with spelling mistakes on its ribbons. I guess I'll take some damage for doing that, but
Maybe we'll see.
hey, this is a
Um,
deceive plus academia, I think,
I
right?
think so too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, from
So-
cut to cute, exactly. That seems fair. So I roll 3 dice,
Okay.
and this time I'll try to roll d10s.
Worth noting, and those that helped Fedara, you said you took 4 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Sorted, you also have taken 4 damage, as did Gerald.
Ow. Ow, ow, ow.
Ow.
brings me to 12.
Yeah.
Ooh, ow. Okay. I'm rolling my thing here.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, I rolled a 10,
Excellent.
I think. Huh? Oh, I've still got a d6 in the mix. Well, I'm not re-rolling that. I've got a 10.
Well, you can re-roll because let's see, you're not doing damage. You're just distracting.
Right.
Keep in mind that whenever we rolled for a fight or to damage, extra d10s cause extra damage.
I'll just.
But with your 10, I think I'm going to stick with that same that I did before. I think that's an exceptional. That's going to be like pulling up 2 floating help die.
Oh.
I admit I am screwing around with this system, but that's what you
fair.
do. So, Sordin, you are badly beaten up.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I give up.
I did not think you would. You see, as Bizarre has started scribbling, you could see that in the scribbles that are going on in this form, and of course it's trying to whip around these ribbons to hit Bizarre, but deftly he's managing to word here, and it's causing a
Without the undignified noises, please.
and it's causing a bit of a garbling of this creature's word use. Yeah. Crosh. Cat. But this may be your moment. So you can do fight. Worth asking. You got that dagger. Or no, yeah, you have your dagger. So that's looking at a D3 damage. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you could do better. Find a better weapon at this point. Really, that's
gonna be
probably
difficult
best.
in a library.
Yeah. So, fight plus. Let's see. The occult or religion would have fallen into those.
Yep, no, don't have those.
I don't think so.
But
So
at least
two,
I don't have a -2 anymore.
correct. And you have the 2 free floating from the distraction. You could take those off.
Yep, I'll gladly take those 2.
That's 4. Is anyone helping? I think, Vizar, you've already kind of done your action as a help, and it's a huge help. You doubled help die. Aramitz?
May I still try to distract it with my moonlight?
You can, and in fact, you have the glow of your gem. There's something that's glowing in your pocket as well.
I pull it out. What is this
That
thing?
moonshine.
Your vial of
Oh,
moonshine.
crap! That's right. The vial of moonshine.
Shines up,
Well, it's got 3 X's on it and everything, and I forgot about it. No,
joining in with this. And so
Sure.
I think I'm going to give that an extra die.
well, take it.
And so 2, 2, 2, 6
6,
die.
Yeah. It's okay. It's a 9. It's like it's still only a 7, but no, it's a 9.
Excellent. You do not take stress as you strike into this. Roll your damage with your D3 die.
So that's 2.
You rolled a 2 or 2 damage.
I rolled a 3. So
Excellent. All right. You slice into this and it continues to reel back. It is unfortunately still up.
Yeah, no, I figured.
But with this, with its difficulty down, we may be hitting it to that point where a gang rush on it might be advised. But Fedara, it is your turn.
Yep. I'm pissed. I just snarl and curse during my reload and let into it again.
All right. So you're rolling with fight plus your 1, and as you do so, Creed says, "Friends, help! Friends!" And as he yells at this thing, there is power in his words as well, and you can see his form slightly shift as words kind of circulate around his skin, and he will be adding a help die to you.
Amazing. Thank you, Creed. Good lad. So I'm rolling 2 dice.
Your base, your fight, you have fight
Mhm.
plus him, so 3.
All right then. Hookah, hookah, hookah. Hey, a 9.
Excellent. And with the pistol, I believe it does a D6.
Yup. Let's find out how much that ends up being. One.
Oh, we are so nickeling this thing. The muzzle flare shoots into it as ribbons sort of fly back from it. But yet it's we are hitting that point. I think I am going to go ahead and give us a chance to do a bit more at it, just so that we could maybe kill it off. Aramis, it is you. How would you like to try to deal with this thing?
I don't even know how to pull this off, but the way that, I don't know if also check in, is this playing with player knowledge? But if this thing seems to be like using words in some way, what if we, instead of messing with the painful words that it's known, could Aramis call out a word to teach it that changes its destructive
I mean,
power?
I already tried that, right?
Right. And I don't, Aramis wouldn't know
Yeah.
that, but yeah, that's
Well,
true. I
and
don't want to.
what the result when Vizar did it was to weaken it, give those free floating dice.
And I tried it at the beginning when I said, wouldn't you want to learn more words? But it didn't want that. So I don't think it's open to teach being taught stuff.
Right. Yeah, this would be if what you were doing, you would be trying to inflict other words into it. This would be some sort of attack on it, basically, which would be, in a sense, kind of like where Vizier was writing onto the ribbons and integrating new stuff into it, is where I was thinking you were going with it. But no, it's not. You can't talk it down now.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll just dive in and stab it with my knife.
I will help.
It's a terrible
I will
idea.
help if you want me to. I mean, I
do, because I have no fight.
I can only help you with academia, but I think that still holds. I will just go on scribbling on it. That helped before, so
I think it does. Yeah,
I would help, but no, I'm already badly enough hurt. I'm just not going to take any risks.
I don't blame you. So you've got you're using religion-rich domain. You have your base and you have your help. So you're looking at 3d10.
Okay, here we go.
And we have thus far done 4 pieces of damage to it off of.
I got a 9.
Oh, fantastic. Roll your damage.
Okay, it's a
D3, I think.
3. Yeah. Here comes a 1. I'm just calling it. Oh, 4. So a D3 would make that a 2, right?
And this is your religious dagger, is it not?
Yes, this is my Laudanum San, the Order of Blood knife. So
as you strike,
Mother Moon, guide my hand.
Strike into it. The ribbons attempt to grab your hand, attempt to slash at you, but that glow from your necklace, from the vial that you're holding, seems to surround you and surround the knife as you hear this scream from the creature. Oblivion, loss, darkness. And the ribbons flutter down to the ground as the mandala of the room behind becomes still, and all you hear are your own deep and ragged breaths.
I'm a grab a ribbon.
You beat it.
It's souvenir and or bandage time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been using these ribbons as bandages is kind of ironic. But I want one as a souvenir, or, well,
There's plenty for both.
yeah, that's
Now-
a good thing.
We are going to close on this seed, but do we want to try and do a bit of healing fixing first, or
Yeah, I've got a thing. I can create a place of stillness and healing once per session. I can lead my allies in a recuperation session. So maybe we do
we'll
that.
have one next time? Yes.
Exactly. That's what I was hoping for. All allies present restore 3 stress from mind or blood.
Excellent. And so, what does it look like when you set up this place of respite? What is the ritual or
I think
things you go through to do it?
I think that he brings out the moon, the shine of the moon, and maybe draws a circle for us to come inside. And he draws out a small little prayer book and has each person stand within the light of the Limier's light, and he offers blessings and touches each of their shoulders and asks them to say a few words about what they're feeling, what's ailing or hurting them, so that they can pour it out and offer it up to the mother.
Ooh, I like that. And you say it's how much?
3.
So 3 healing for any of those who need it?
Or participate. I mean, you gotta do the thing.
And it's in blood and mind or bond? Or mind.
Or. It says or mind.
Sorted, I'm guessing you're participating.
Oh, yes.
All right. Have you already knocked yours down?
Yes.
Oh.
And I also realized at some point, because at some point I took 4, but I do have 2 blood, so I should have taken 2. So still have 7 stress, but you know, a total of 5, because
a total of 5, which gives you a moderate fallout, and I am going to go ahead and give you your moderate fallout.
Yes.
I think that as you walk over and you kind of stagger into this circle, beginning this healing, I think, Aramis, as you see Sordin come in and begin to participate, you notice his eyes kind of roll back into his head, and poof, he passes out.
Oh my.
I'm giving you the moderate fallout of knocked out. You will be unconscious for, I think, probably about an hour, which is not the worst fallout to encounter, but it seemed to make more sense than me breaking any of your bones.
Fair.
During which time, we know that things will be going on inside the library because y'all are kind of stuck with your unconscious friend.
I may have something for that.
Ooh, very good. Does anybody else have on their totals in a spot 2 or more in a stress? That is total after, that'd be in your total box. Let me look.
Oh, after the ritual, I'm fine. My body is fine. My mind is still a little rattled, but that's fine. I can have now an hour to root through these writings. How interesting.
All right.
I've got
I'm at-
shadow stress. of
That's
3.
right. You got hit by Shadow hard.
All right. I'm going to give you a minor fallout for your shadow.
Okay.
Was there a thing where if you get fallout, you lose some stress?
Yes.
I think, yeah, I thought so.
Yes,
It's important.
it is very important. Let me get over to it here as well. Oh, and actually, I am making a mistake on that. Learning the rules myself. So, you don't automatically take Fallout. So, Jan, I would like for you to roll a D10.
Yes. Okay.
And if the roll is lower than your total stress, you will suffer fallout.
Oh, here goes. Yes, it is lower, so I will pass
take
out.
Shin, now you will roll a D10. Is it lower than your 3 in shadow?
No.
You will not take fallout. There we go. All learning as we go along. But that was our first fight. And I will admit, it was a tough one. This was a toughie here. And we will bring our session to a close, having defeated this thing. And I think those of you who haven't seen him before, you see Creed. The words that were on him kind of fade back in as he looks over, kind of steps into the circle to take part. And he smiles at you, Amaranth, and says, "Friends."
Yes, friends.
Friends tell friends secrets. And he sort of smiles at you. And that's where we'll close. So if folks have a second or two, let's do a round of stars and wishes. As with any new game, we're learning as we go. We're seeing how it does. Love to hear some thoughts on that, as well as on sort of the things that things you might like to see going forward. So let's do character keeper order, and we'll go right to left. So Sabine, my dearest heart, stars and wishes. Why don't we do stars first, and then we'll come back the other way and hear wishes.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. My stars, yeah, lots of character-driven stars. I liked Aramis with that drug addict guy and with the glass blower guys, whatever their name was, I forgot. Lens guys. And I like, yeah, and I like Funara going into like, oh yeah, we have this that we want, and we have that we want, and no, the mission, the other guys will take care of the mission. I want these things. I really like that. And Sordin, yeah, I mean, I like the way he was with this. What was her name? Blaze, the human woman. Like, I'm looking at you, not picking a fight here, not picking a fight, but it's hard. And then going up against the word elemental and rolling so badly. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And I will also give stars to, what's the name I have to, Gerald. Gerald for trying to pacify everything and just keep everyone like, no, we'll keep our head down. Everything's fine. Everything's, I like that.
Awesome. Thank you. Jen, stars.
Stars. We got to see a lot more of Aramis this session. That was right and good. I felt a lot of atmosphere from this session. This felt like we were in a big building with lots of intersecting human contexts, which of course I know that we're drow and most of the people we've been intersecting with are drow, but come on. But it had that feeling to it, and that was good. I like Creed. I liked I definitely liked the tough guy off between Blaze and Sorden. I liked Blaze going fire mode on us. That was fun and intimidating. And the word elemental, just what a concept. Mind blown. Loved it.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much. Next on our list is Rich Stars.
Jan, I have to say, Sorden bitching about not bringing his sword is just the whole shtick was really good. It tickled me. I was giggling on mute. Sabine Vizar's like, oh my god, this is like the worst. We're not doing our mission. I'm gonna go off. Oh, it's a story. I'll just like blow this off and do the story. I love that bit of I've dedicated to this thing unless this other thing that's more important to me does a thing. I thought that was fun. That was definitely a thing I'd see in a misadventure that also felt very character motivated. Jin Fanara dealing with people inside the library was extremely helpful, and I'd love to see how like focused and logical she is and how well she deals with folks. It's really, really neat. Alex in Absentia, I enjoyed, as Tyler said, it's like, can't we all get along? No, I'll just like talk us into oh gosh, I will fuss at them for you so you don't have to, Elfir. That was all fun bits that I enjoyed. And our loving GM, I enjoyed all the voice work quite a bit. There was some cool like sound effect stuff that you were pulling that was very like helped to create a mood. It felt this library reminds me of bits of Magicians in a good way. I mean that as in a complimentary way, and that was pretty cool. I even had like a little bit of a flash of the like desert library from Avatar that I thought was pretty wonderful episode. So all cool stuff. Those are my stars.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And Jan, stars.
I will echo what I think Jen said. That the word elemental was a very cool monster. Like nothing like you've like ever seen before. So that's really cool. The NPCs were really cool. I was very impressed with Gerald's talking talking people down. I was very happy to see more of Aramids, and I really like the character. And Vizar was the dedication to like there was of course also a comment in the chat where it's like, fuck you, I'm an inksmith, words are my game. I really like that. And yeah, Fanara was also really cool. So yeah, all around good session.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'll say I can't lay a huge amount of claim to all of the thing. The adventure gave me the word elemental. I thought it was a super cool thing as well. And I like it's a great little adventure, and I suppose I should give credit where credit is due. This is Sharang Biswas, which it is a really, I think, very interesting adventure. And I really was a huge star to everyone for the grabbing hold of chances to talk between each other. I liked Sorden and Gerald outside while Vizar's going in to deal with it, having their discussion. I loved Fanara and Aramit's dealing with the glass shines, the things that were important, the kind of sweetness of that moment, and also talking with and dealing with Creed. Rich, I loved that opening scene. I thought that was really pretty and really neat, and it is foreshadowing for things to come. Sabine, I really liked me doing kind of a cold open on the past, that flashback of your master there. which I do intend for us to have something from later in this adventure, but you hopped right to it, grabbed hold of it. We got to see some of that relationship. I thought that was really nice. And again, I thought that y'all talking with each other went really well, and I want to make sure we always have that. So let's go backwards and do our wishes, things we want to see, things that we want to try and highlight. Jan.
For wishes, I guess my my biggest wish is like, for even though the words elemental was super cool, for a first combat encounter, it was fucking harsh. Like starting everything with a -2 and the amount of damage it did, it was just like, holy shit. Okay, we're like, we might die with this. So that was like, okay, yeah, for a first combat encounter, harsh, ouch.
Yeah, I'll address when I get to me some of that. But anything else?
No, then it's no.
Awesome, cool. Rich, wishes.
I'll take the cheap and easy one. Of boy, I wish we have full session Alex, which I know will be granted next session. Yay! I think I wish that we have, or one thing that I definitely want is some follow-ups from the characters that we've encountered. Like I really enjoyed that Creed came back, and like the stuff that how we interacted was reinforced and that kind of stuff. And I really like it if the glass blowers do pay off in good and bad ways. And I definitely want Vizar to run into their Elfir Tormentor a lot. Like I really want that. Here's
Awesome.
my wishes.
Thank you very much. Chin, wishes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm eager to see more of this situation develop. With more callbacks to these characters. I hope that Jan isn't 1P for a whole lot of next week's gameplay. Because I know that it's interesting if the situation develops while he's knocked out, but it's not really interesting to exclude him from scenes. Other than that, no big things flagging out for me.
Awesome.
This first combat was definitely shocking, and I'm getting used to the rules. So waiting to feel the mastery. You know, what is success in combat about? I don't know yet. Not really.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Thank you very much. Sabine, wishes.
Yeah, my wish is that, I mean, I wish that as I said in the chat, words are my thing, and they didn't work at all against the word elemental. That was not. I mean, I wish that that I could have used my powers against that, but it didn't work like that, so that's fine. But it felt like, okay, I have a cool power, but it doesn't work. Okay, damn. So that was a bit disappointing, because we had a lot less screen time than Fonara and Aramitz did. So yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Thank you very much. I will say, for me, this first combat was a revelation for me as well. It was extremely tough, and I'm looking at it to say, okay, now first off, this is about as tough as anything in the game will get. A 2 difficulty is about as tough as you'll ever encounter something in the game. I might have led a little bit with, or gone with the concept of you could try and run away from it. You basically gotten your information from it anyway, but that's not something that A, is intuitive, or B, that I gave enough of any sort of hint that that would be the case. So that's on me. The other thing is, boy, we had some rough dice in that whole combat. There was some really rough exchanges in that.
In my heart of hearts, I was like, oh, we're doing really great on the infiltration. That means the first combat that we get into, we're going to roll a lot of bad dice.
It definitely made me miss the Apocalypse Roll Fixed Harm a lot.
It was a rough combat. But we see now a little of what a combat is. I do think we're going to come up with concepts and strategies for how to deal with it. Sordin, had you had your weapon and armor, this would have been a very different combat.
Well, yes, but I didn't.
But you didn't.
That was sort of the point. Like, no one could have had their weapon or armor unless we found out some really creative ways to bring that
in. So it ended up being a hell of a combat that was a learning experience for me as well. To go with, I don't intend for Sordin to be out for stuff we're doing. It is more in this case of we've got to wait a bit for Sordin to be up and ready, and therefore stuff outside of us might develop. We'll develop on that. I don't really see us, we're not going to have major plot points y'all are dealing with while Sordin sleeps. That's no fun for anybody. So in with that. And I do want us, I anticipate we will be finished with this adventure next time. We are ever so very close. We have found a big part of it. We just have to find another part of it, and that's not going to be as difficult. So the big fun for me is to try and make sure, as y'all are saying, to bring those things we've done and people we've dealt with inside of here into the bigger game once we leave. I think that's going to be interesting and fun. So, while it was dangerous and awful, yes, Young?
I have one more wish that I thought of.
Mm-hmm.
After this mission, I would also love to see some people just in their own environments without a mission going on. That's definitely something I would love to see.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want us to be mission to mission to mission. That seems just dull to me. That's a little too Blades for my taste. So yeah, we will definitely be dealing outside of just missions. Cool. Well, thank you all for playing. I hope it was enjoyable, and I'll hand it back over to you, Rich.
Cool. Yes, we will be continuing this next week as we delve deeper into the library of the Spire. Thanks again, Tyler, for running the game, and thanks everybody for watching.